we are going to talk about rebirth on the chessboard, right? Rebirth on the chessboard and repetition. In my poem that I read for Lucy, one of the things that I talk about in my poem is that we as people on planet Earth keep repeating what? What do we keep repeating on planet Earth, you guys? Leah? Lila? What do we repeat every year? Days. What do we repeat every year? What's the Earth doing? What are we doing on Earth? Spinning, and we're traveling around what? The sun. And every time 365 days pass, we repeat our trip around the sun, right? So Lucy's beginning trip around the sun number 6 today, right? As it turns out, in the game of chess, there is also rebirth and repetition. Things repeat, right? And we're going to talk about that. But before we get there, I want to go back a little bit to lesson number 1 because we didn't finish yesterday. So let's open the binders to our, let's go this page right before we get to our chess squares. I have an extra binder here for you, so you can use mine today. Right before we get to our chess squares. Let's go the page right before our chess squares. I think I have the right page. It should be this page here, guys. And once again, please hold down your binders so that your papers don't fly away, okay? I want to make sure they don't fly away. All right. This one, this page here. Everybody got this page? Yes? Everybody got this page? Great. Now, look at the first row. What do you see? That first row of boxes, what do you guys see?
Numbers?
Yeah. Which numbers? What's that? 10? I don't see 10. Do you see 10? 8. Just 1 through 9, right, Lucy? Do you see that first row of numbers? It's numbers 1 through 9. These are the numbers we all know today, right? But one of the things we talked about yesterday is, where do things come from? They don't just appear magically. It takes a long time for the things that we know today to form, right? Just like it took a long time for the Earth to form. Yes?
Yes, ooga booga.
It took a long time for the Earth to form. First, the Earth was just a bunch of space junk, a bunch of, I don't know, rocks and particles and things that over a very long period of time formed and kind of came together into this planet that we have today. Right here. Chess was the same way. It started out as a different sort of game in India called what? Who remembers? Chaturanga, right? Meaning what? Having how many parts? 4 parts. Chess started as a game in India called Chaturanga, and eventually it evolved and changed into the game that we know today. Have you guys ever been walking along the ocean and then you see a stone and you pick it up? Everybody imagine you picked up a stone in your hands, right? Usually when you pick up a stone that's near the ocean, what kind of stone is it? Is it like a sharp, jagged stone with lots of pointy, hard, sharp edges? No? What kind of stone is it usually?
Flat.
It's usually flat, and what is it? Does it have a lot of sharp edges? No, it's kind of smooth and round, right?
Like sand, 'cause sand is
Yeah. How does that happen? Do they just make stones like that? Is there a stone factory somewhere in the ocean that's like, we need more stones? Where do those smooth, round stones come from? Anybody know? Nobody knows? They come from the ocean, but do anybody want to guess how? Why? Yes, Roshan.
So when the Earth was made, there were like little pebbles everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the ocean came to life, and then some of those pebbles got pulled into the ocean.
Well, definitely. And what's more is that the ocean has, speaking of things that repeat, right? Repetition. What repeats in the ocean all the time? If you go to the beach, yes, Lila.
The rocks fall from mountains sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And they fall into the water and they keep bouncing and they break apart into sand.
Yes, that also happens.
Sometimes they don't break apart enough into sand.
When you, very good, when you go to the ocean and you stand on the beach, when you go to the ocean and you stand on the beach, and you just stand there and you watch the ocean for a while, what do you see repeating time and time again?
Waves.
The waves, right? The waves come in and they go out, and they come in and they go out, and they come in and they go out. Now imagine a stone that was sharp and had sharp edges, and that stone was just caught up in this surf, in these waves, but not for a year, not for 2 years, but for hundreds of years, thousands of years. The same stone just rolling back and forth, rolling back and forth, until what? Until the edges of that stone become smooth, right? That rolling through the ocean, through the sand and scraping and grinding and rolling, that makes the stone smooth. It takes away the sharp edges of the stone, right? And that's, yes, Roshan?
This is not really history about chess or chess.
No, but it's a metaphor. What is a metaphor? Bless you. What is a metaphor? A metaphor is something that helps us understand something else, helps us understand an idea, right? If, for example, I wanted to say that Dove eats a lot of food, right? I could say, Dove is a whale. Have you seen how much he eats? He's a whale, right? Right?
No, you're a whale.
If I wanted to say that Lila jumps really high, I could say, oh my God.
You know what? And you say they jump really high.
I could say,
Mean.
sit down. I could say, Lila's a kangaroo, right? And as soon as I say kangaroo, you know that I'm talking about somebody that jumps really high, right? Yeah? If I wanted to say somebody's really skinny, I could say, oh, she's a bird. She's a feather. She's a ladybug, right? A pencil. All those are metaphors, right? I show you an image in your head by using those words that helps you understand what I'm trying to say. So the metaphor of this stone that's rolling around in the ocean is very powerful, I think, and very helpful for us because it helps us understand how things change over time, right? That's how the game of chess changed over time. It wasn't always the same from the beginning. Yes, Leah?
How do you know this stuff?
How do I know it? I learned it, I read it, I researched it. So that stone that's rolling around in the ocean and over a long period of time getting smoother and more perfect, that's the exact same thing that happened with the game of chess. And I want you to take a look at these numbers over here that are in front of you. Look at that first row of numbers. Those are the numbers that we know now, right? We all look at those numbers and we know that they're the numbers 1 through 9. But I want you to look at the numbers below them.
What the heck is
What the heck is that? Let's look at the numbers below them. Roshan thinks he knows.
It's numbers from a very long time ago.
That's right. Those are numbers from a very long time ago. Remember I told you that India was a place a couple thousand years ago that had some very strong ideas about mathematics. And these numbers, or these symbols that are down here in the second row, these were called Brahmi numerals. Yes, and they were Brahmi numerals, and they were very primitive, original marks or symbols that stood for numbers. And you can see how, look at the little chart below. See the little chart below here with the arrows that you guys started coloring? You can see how these numbers, just like the stone that gets rolled around in the ocean until it becomes smooth, these numbers, slowly but surely over 2,000 years, they evolved, they changed into the numbers that we know today, right? So can you see though how some of these numbers already look like the numbers that we know today, right? Yeah. The number 1 was just a single mark, right? Just a single line. The number 2 was 2 lines. The number 3 was 3 lines.
That looks like an R.
And then there were other symbols as well. And over time, look at over here in this little chart here. You see how the numbers begin to change? Their forms begin to change until they become the numbers that we know today. Just like the game of chess, right? Just like the game of chess started in a form that it's not today, but over time, after traveling through the world through, remember, trade and war, right? The game of chess started to take on new characteristics, new rules, new ideas, until it became that smooth stone or that game that we all know and play today, right? Yes, Roshan?
Are these numbers from the Ooga Booga?
They are not. They are not from the Ooga Booga. Okay, by the way, I just realized that Roshan rhymes with ocean. Did you guys know that? Now you know. All right, rhymes with potion. All right, you remember where we left off yesterday is we were talking about the fact that about 1,400 years ago, through trade and war, the game of chaturanga comes out of India and it travels, probably by camel, right? Travels to Persia, yes? And in Persia, the game of chess begins to be called what?
A chess.
No, not a chess, bless you. It begins to be called
Shatranj.
Shatranj, right? Begins to be called shatranj. And in the Persian language, the way you say the word king is what? How do you say king in the Persian language? No, shah. And how do you say the king is dead in Persian? Mat. Shahmat, right? And so, as it turns out, those two words, when we put them together, and this is where we stopped yesterday, when you put those two words together, close your binder please so your papers don't fly away. When we put those two words together, you get the word shahmat, which is a way that many different languages call chess, or something close to it, right? Russian does. In Russian, chess is shakhmaty, right? Which is basically that exact word.
Russian, checkmate is shah, imat.
Check is shah in Russian, and mate is mat, right? Okay, let's go.
And shahmet.
Yes. Let's go to this page here, which I hope you have in your binder. I don't know what happened to it. There's a page here where I have a little table that shows how you say chess in different languages, right? I don't know where yours went, so you're going to have to share with Roshan. I don't know what happened to that page. Here you go. All right? How you say chess in different languages. Who wants... I don't know what happened to your page. Where did it go? Did it hide somewhere? Did I put it in the wrong place? I don't... No, that's not it. That's a different table. Okay, I don't know why, but in your binder, for some reason, it's missing. Maybe it... Because I made a mistake. That's okay.
Give me one. I'm not sharing with Roshan.
Yes, you are.
Papa, I don't want to share with Roshan.
Well, you need to share with somebody because... Great. So, everybody on this page. Now, this is called a table.
You can share with one of the girls.
You can share with Roshan, and you'll be nice about it. Dov? This is called a table because it shows us information that's kind of contained in this little square or a set of rectangles, right? So we can trace our finger from the first language. What language is that? Who wants to read that first one? Who can read that name of that first language? Leah? Very good. Arabic, yes. And do you want to give a try, Leah, of how you say chess in Arabic? It's right there, right next to it. If you trace with your finger across, how do you say chess in Arabic? Try it. No, try. You have to read it. It says right there. Let Leah have a turn. Everybody will have a turn. We got a lot of languages to get through. Leah? She's taking her time. Relax. You don't know. All right. Anybody else? Shatranj in Arabic, right? Just like in Persian, it's shatranj, right? Now, does anybody speak Chinese?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anybody want to try how to say chess in Chinese? Go ahead, Dov. Xie. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not very good at Chinese. Don't break my pen, please. Xie. How about Dutch? Who wants to try it in Dutch? The next one, the next language. Roshan, try it in Dutch. What does that say right there? Close. In Dutch, it's schake.
Skaki.
Schake.
Skaki.
Yeah, Dutch have this weird thing which sounds like they're kind of like about to spit a little bit, like this thing, like just like in Hebrew, you know, you have that. Schake.
Like he said,
Schake.
a chess.
How about the next one, Lila? Do you want to try the next one, Lila? Which language is that? French. Very good. And what does that say? Again, louder. No, this one here. It starts with a D.
Skawook. I'm saying that.
Anybody else want to try the French? Try it.
Actually, no.
Anybody else want to try the French?
Chessou.
Chess in French is d'échec. 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 Right? Sounds a little bit like Czech, doesn't it? Who wants to try German?
Me. No, me.
Go ahead, Dov, and then Roshan will do the next one. Try the German.
Shach.
Yeah, shach. Shach, just like you say king in Persian or Czech, right, in Russian. Shach. What about in Hebrew? Who wants to try Hebrew? Roshan? No? Try that. That's pretty easy.
Here, I want to do this one. Here, let me do this.
Lila's going to do Hebrew. Go ahead, Lila. That one right there. Shachmat. Yeah? Just like...
This one, I really want to do this one.
Which one? Oh, Icelandic. Go for it.
Skauk.
Yeah, skauk.
Skauk.
Skauk. In Icelandic, chess is skauk. Who wants to try Italian? That's a fun one. Lucy, why don't you try Italian? No? Who wants to try Italian? Leah is going to try Italian. It's a really fun one. It's my favorite one. This one. Let's see, you got to trace your finger across. Italian. That one. Yeah. How do you say chess in Italian? Yeah, scacchi. Scacchi. All right, Roshan is going to do Japanese because he's in the JBPP program. Chessu. Yeah? And in Korean, it's very similar. I'll do Korean. Korean is cheseu, something like that. In Farsi, Farsi is the name of the Persian language, the language you speak in Iran. Shatranj, right? That's exactly what it was called 1,400 years ago, and that's what it's called now. And in Russian, of course, it's, don't do that, you're going to break the binder. In Russian, it's called? No, it's just called shachmate, right? How about in Spanish? Anybody speak Spanish? Yeah, you want to try chess in Spanish? How about I say it and you repeat it? Ajedrez. Ajedrez.
That's Alfredo.
Ajedrez. Yeah? And finally, what's the last language there? Can anybody read that last language on the table? What's that last one? I can't. Turkish. Turkish.
The kissing song.
Try it. Yeah, it's a little bit harder consonants. It's not shatranj like it is in Farsi. It's satranj. But very close, right? Satranj. Satranj. Okay? All right, fantastic. Very good. So that's how you say, let me ask you this, Leah, what's your favorite language in which to say chess out of all the ones we just did? English? Dov, what about you? Skauk. Iceland. Well, English is just chess. Icelandic, skauk. Lucy, what's your favorite language to say chess?
I know none.
What about you, Lila?
Japanese.
Japanese, you like chessu. And what about you, Leah?
Where's Japanese?
Roshan, what about you?
Chessu.
Chessu, Japanese? Chessu. All right, good. Guess what? We have, to finish up lesson number 1, we have a little quiz. You guys know what a quiz is? Yeah? Everybody flip to the page that says lesson 1 quiz.
Oh yeah, now I don't need to.
Oh, this is you, right? Yeah, come over here. Lesson 1 quiz, flip, flip, flip.
But can this be like an interesting quiz?
It is an interesting quiz. Right there. Now, Lila wasn't with us yesterday, so you're going to have to help her out, maybe. So, flip to the quiz page, please. And I'm going to need everybody's help to help me read these questions. Who wants to read question number 1? All right, I heard Dove first. Dove. Oh, but don't forget to write your name on the name, where it says name. You know how you say name in German? No. You know, right? Don't you speak German?
Yeah.
How do you say name in German?
What?
How do you say name in German?
Name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I never.
Name?
Oh, Oh yeah, no.
Nama, come over here to the quiz page. Great, that's you.
It's the same letters, but it's
All right,
just,
yes, exactly.
India.
Who is reading question number 1? Was it Dove? Dove, read question number 1, please.
Chess was invented in.
Write your name. Chess was invented in blank. Who remembers where chess was invented? Raise your hand. Roshan remembers. Anybody else remember? Dove, do you remember? Dove? You don't remember where chess was invented?
When?
Where? Where? Where was chess invented? Which country?
India.
India, of course.
Oh, I thought you said when.
No, in India. Where? So everybody,
I thought it was India too.
everybody write India on that first blank line right there. How do you spell India? Who wants to try to spell India?
Me.
Very close. Dove is very close. India is spelled I-N-D-I-A. So instead of an E, it's an I. India. I-N-D-I-A. I-N-D-I-A, India. Chess was invented in I-N-D-I-A, India.
I thought I did it.
All right, have a seat.
I thought I did it.
All right, who wants to read? Yes.
Can we do the quiz? Can we do the quiz? So like you say there are
Well, I want people to take turns.
on a chessboard, and then you don't raise your hand. You just write.
You write the answer? Sure, of course. But I want somebody to help me read question number 2. Who wants to read question number 2? I saw Roshan's hand go up, and then Lila will read number 3. Go ahead, Roshan.
Are blank squares on a chessboard?
There, did everybody hear? There are blank squares on a chessboard. How many squares are on a chessboard?
204.
Quiet. How many squares are on a chessboard? Not how many squares are hiding in the chessboard, but how many squares are on the chessboard, on the actual chessboard. Go ahead and write the answer in the blank, please.
No one needs to tell me.
Great. Everybody should know this. How many squares are on the chessboard?
And no counting.
You can count if you need to. That's okay.
That's gonna
But
be
everybody
seven.
should know by now how many squares are on the chessboard. How many squares are on the chessboard?
And you shouldn't peek because
on the chessboard, Leah? Do you know?
Yes, of course you know. We talked about it yesterday. It's Dove's favorite number, isn't it? One of his favorite numbers. 64. Very good. There are 64 squares on a chessboard. Go ahead and write the number 64. Make sure your 6 aren't backwards. Yeah, I know that we have a tendency to write a... It is not. Very good. 64 squares on a chessboard. Lila, would you read us question number 3, please?
The original name of chess was.
This is, what kind of question is that? There's like 4 answers below. So you have the answers. Instead of having a blank to fill in, you actually have the answers and you have to choose which one is the... Hold on a second.
Don't say I
Hold on.
write it
Hey,
down.
what kind? Who knows what kind of question that is? When you have 4 answers and you have to pick the right one.
I did this before on TV. So there's this video with cars, and then they show the car, but without the mark, they like
Yeah.
put black in.
Yeah.
And then they show 2 different things, and you have to pick one. Or there's this thing where you grab markers, you put 2 the same, but one's wrong.
Right.
Like maybe one's upside down.
Right. So what
I
type
love
of question is that? Who knows that's a question? You guys, as you
Choice.
very close. There's a two words. Yes.
A choice.
No choice. It's some kind of choice. It's called multiple choice. It's a multiple choice question.
It's a good I don't have to hold my paper down my water.
Very good. You guys, as you continue to go through school,
I know.
you are going to
Don't say it out loud.
you are going to encounter lots of multiple choice questions. Can somebody help me read question number 4, please?
Me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Everybody answered question number 3, right? Great. Dove, read question number 4, please.
Question number 4. The original name for chess meant.
Man.
Wait.
And then
I
read
haven't even wrote my answer.
read the 4 answers, please, and then everybody will pick the right one.
I already did.
Five
Good. Excuse me? Read that again, please.
5
Uh-huh. Hold on to your papers.
corners.
5 corners. That's A. That's answer A. What's answer B?
And think,
Okay. What's answer C?
having 4 parts.
And what's answer D?
32
I'm
pieces.
blocking all
Okay.
Wait, I haven't even wrote the 30.
So the original name for chess meant what? Which of those answers is correct? Is it 5 corners? Is it sit and think? Is it having 4 parts? Or is it 32 pieces? Which is the correct answer? What was the original name for chess?
No, don't say. It was chaturanga.
Yeah, it was chaturanga. And what does chaturanga mean?
4 parts.
Having 4 parts, which is answer C, right? Very
I
good.
already did that.
Everybody got answer C?
Wait, having 4 parts? Wait, you need to write.
You need to circle the correct answer.
Wait,
Circle.
and same as here?
Yeah, you just circle that answer B right there. And then you circle answer C on the 4th question. And finally, at the end, we have a fill in the blank, not draw in the blank, please. We have a fill in the blank, and who can read question number 5 for me, please? Roshan?
The name in chess is in many languages. Comes from the Persian word shahmat, which means
Read that again, but a little bit louder, please, and a little more confidently.
the name for chess is
Not is.
Can I do it,
the
please?
name
Please.
for chess in many languages comes from the Persian word shahmat,
Which means what? What does shahmat mean in the Persian language? Just write it down. Just do your best to spell it. What does shahmat mean in the Persian language? What does it mean? Most people should know. What does shahmat mean in the Persian language? Very good. That's absolutely right, Leo.
Can you just write checkmate?
No, because shahmat in the Persian language actually means the king is dead, right? Or the king is defeated. It doesn't mean checkmate in Persian. It means checkmate, check and mate in English or in Russian especially. In the blank line at the bottom, the king is dead. The king is dead. I wonder how you say the emperor has no clothes in Persian. Have you read The Emperor Has No Clothes? Do you know that story? You don't know the story? Who remembers the story The Emperor Has No Clothes? You read it on your iPad? Do you know the story The Emperor Has No Clothes? You don't know that story? Oh my goodness.
Told me about it.
Oh my goodness. Dove, should we tell the story really quickly? No? Okay, we'll tell it next time.
What do I do?
The king is dead.
How do I spell it?
How do you spell king?
Like this?
That's not the kiggin, but the king. Not the kiggin, but the king. King, not kiggin. Kiggin. The kiggin is dead.
I like Kiggin more than King.
Good. Hey, that was really nice, you guys. You did a really good job on this quiz. Very, very good.
Wait, how do I spell a king?
Somebody spell king, please.
K-I-G-N.
No, that's kiggin. King would be K-I-N-G. King. You have to sound it out, right? King. King. Or in Japanese, kingu.
Chicken.
Without looking, Dove, do you remember how the king is dead? Dead is spelled D-E-A-D. Do you remember without looking how to say chess in your favorite language, Icelandic? Without looking at the paper, do you remember how to say chess in Icelandic?
How do I spell a dead? Skook.
No, skalk. Skalk.
Wait, how? What? How do I
D-E-A-D. Dead is D-E-A-D. You should know how to spell dead because don't you write a note and leave it on the door of your room that says, "Do not enter or you will be dead"?
D-E-D.
Dead, not dead. Dad. D-E-A-D. Skauk. Skauk. No, that's deed.
Okay, now can we have a break?
You need, the king is dead. All right, 5-minute break.
Sorry, just so you know, I can see your microphone.
That's fine. It's not supposed to be hidden. Yeah, it's supposed to be there. All right. What am I holding in my hand?
A king!
The king. Somebody tell me something about the king. I know you know it's called a king or a kiggin. So Lila, tell me something about this king.
It only can move one square forward or diagonal or backward or sideways.
That's right. Very good. The king can only move one square at a time, forward, backward, diagonal, or sideways. Exactly right, Lila. Very good. Anybody else want to tell me something about this king, Roshan?
If the king is dead,
Can I get a snack?
No.
the other team wins.
If the king is dead, the other team wins. Okay, that's a elegant way of putting it. Yes, Leah?
At the end of the game, the king is really powerful.
Whoa. Hang on a second. That was something really profound that Leah just said. Do you know what profound means? Profound means deep, like really smart and interesting. Can you sit down, please? Leah, can you say that again, please, louder?
At the end of the game, the king is really powerful.
Wow. At the end of the game, the king is really powerful. You know what I'm going to say next, right? What's my favorite question? Why? Why is the king really powerful at the end of a game? Yes, Roshan.
Because there are less pieces, and when there's less pieces,
Close your binders.
pieces to attack the king.
That's right. There are fewer pieces at the end of a game, and so there are fewer pieces that can attack the king, so he's less vulnerable at the end of the game, but also he's more powerful. Why? Don't write on the binder, please. Why is he more powerful at the end of a game? Leah, you said it. Why is he so powerful at the end of a game?
Because
What do you need?
there's
No.
less pieces.
Because there are fewer pieces. Can the king help you checkmate your opponent?
Yeah!
Yes? Who knows the name of a checkmate where the king actually helps you checkmate your opponent? Dove, no? A box checkmate.
Back rank checkmate.
Back rank checkmate is not where a king helps you. Yes, Roshan. Anastasia's mate. Good. There
I
are,
don't know what Anastasia's means.
we'll talk about it. There are checkmates where the king can actually help you checkmate your opponent. Yes.
Is it Bowden's mate?
Which one?
There's I think this mate called Bowden's mate.
Bowden's mate? Yeah, we'll dig into checkmates. Absolutely. So the king can actually help checkmate your opponent's king, but why? How is it that the king helps? The king can't check another piece, right? He can't attack another piece. What does the king do that helps checkmate your opponent?
He takes the queen.
What does the king do? Like in a box checkmate. What does the king do that helps you checkmate your opponent?
Get next to the other king.
He gets next to the other king. He creates kind of like a force field, right? Because can a king touch another king in the game of chess? Cannot. So the king creates space around him that the other king cannot go. Close the pens, please. Very good. Anything else about the king before we move on to another piece?
Yeah.
Yes, Dove?
The king always stands on the opposite square. Even though the king is the most important, queen is actually. So the queen stands on the black, piece of the black, and then the king stands on the white.
Yes, Roshan?
The king is actually more important because when the king is done, the game's over. Oh, and the king has no value.
Excellent points, both of you guys. These are things that we can discuss and debate. The king has no value, technically, like when we talk about the values of the pieces, that's part of what we're going to talk about today. The king is not like really worth a certain number of pieces because you can't capture the king and take him off the board, right? The reason we have values for the pieces is because we say, well, if he takes my, hey girls, you need to sit right back down, please. If I need to ask you to sit with your hands folded like they do in Russian school, I will, okay? Because it seems like you can't stop fidgeting with stuff. In Russian school, the one that I went to when I was in first grade, you know how we had to sit?
No.
We had to sit with our hands folded like this on the table. And you couldn't take your, yeah, exactly like that. That's so you don't fidget with stuff and drop stuff and tear stuff and, yeah.
And sleep. What happens if you take them off?
You get punished.
Like how?
No, they hit you with a potato.
What happens if they throw it and you do this?
All right. So the
Throw
king,
the potato at you, bud.
the king technically has no value, like Roshan said, because when we talk about the values of the pieces, I just asked you to not fidget with stuff. Close the binder and just leave it for a second. When we talk about exchanging pieces, like if you trade a bishop for a knight, is that a fair trade?
Yeah.
Yes, why?
Because they both have the same value.
They both have the same value. They're both worth how many pawns? Who knows? 3 pawns. Very good. But the king, you can't really exchange a king, right? You can't be like, well, if they take my king, at least I took their queen. It doesn't work that way. The king never comes off the board. So in that sense, the king doesn't really have any value. But you guys are both right in that the king is the most valuable piece in the game, because if the king is trapped and under attack, then you lose the game. It doesn't matter how many pieces you have on the board, right? On the other hand, Dove is also right, because the queen is the most powerful piece in the game. It can do whatever it wants, right? The queen, she can move how? Any way she wants, except she can't jump over pieces, right? Leah, pen down, sit down.
Only the knight can jump over.
Only the knight can jump over. The queen can move any way she wants, and she's extremely powerful, right? If you lose your queen, it pretty much means game over, right? Because you've lost your most powerful piece.
No, actually doesn't. 'Cause, like all the time he's totally dead king and he beats you.
You kill his queen and he still beats you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could still lose a game without your queen. I mean, you could still lose a game if your opponent doesn't have his queen. He could still beat you. But if you're playing against somebody who's a really strong player, if you lose your queen early in the game, the chances are there's no way you're going to be able to recover from that. Who else can tell me something about the queen? Anything else that we need to know about the queen? Dove mentioned it early. When the game begins, the queen always stands on her own color. Close the binders, thank you, Roshan. And the king has to stand on the color that's not his, because the queen says, you know how it is. Whatever the women say goes, right? All right. What about this piece here? This piece inspired, this piece is the knight inspired by which of the 4 parts of the ancient Indian military? Who remembers from yesterday? Roshan.
The horse one.
The horse guy. What is that called? Dove?
Horse tree.
Dove?
The knight.
Which part of the military is it inspired by?
Cavalry.
Cavalry. Very good. The horseback, the soldiers on
What's the
horseback.
other one?
Well, let's see who remembers. This is what? A rook inspired by chariotry. Yes, chariots. And here we have the bishop inspired by elephantry. Yeah. And of course the pawn inspired by infantry. Very good. All right. Now, part of what we are talking about today, since it's our birthday lesson, happens to be a birthday lesson, is rebirth, which is the only piece in the game that can be reborn as something else. A pawn. Even though a pawn is a very weak piece by itself, when joined with other pawns, the pawn becomes very strong. And when it can cross all the way to the other side of the board, the pawn is really powerful, right? Because the pawn is the only piece that can transform or be, what is it called? Close your binder, please. Transform or be what? Promoted. Promoted to another piece. Usually the queen. Very good. So, anybody else want to tell me something interesting or something we don't know about any of these pieces? Pawn, knight, bishop, rook, queen, and king. How many pawns is a rook worth? 5. How many pawns is a pawn worth?
1.
Trick question, 1. What about a queen?
9.
9 pawns. And a bishop?
3.
3. And a knight?
3.
3.
And a king, 100.
So let me ask you this question, and this is important because it's going to come up later. If we're playing a game and I say, oh, I'm going to offer you to trade this knight for a bishop, right? Is it always a good trade, a fair trade? Is it always a good and fair trade?
No.
No, why not?
Because maybe it's like a trick, so like they have like a bishop and a queen right behind each other, and then like there's one piece there's one piece standing where the queen and bishop are guarding it, and then like there's just one attacking piece trying to go for that.
That's right. So I think what Roshan is trying to say is, well, I like the way he started stop, Leah. I like the way he started what he said, because he said because maybe, right? Because maybe kind of sounds like it depends, right? In terms of pawn value and piece value, can you trade a knight for a bishop? Sure. Because it's worth the same number of pawns. But in terms of every single chess game, every game is different. Maybe your plan that you have in your game requires you to have your bishop and you don't want to trade it for a knight, right? You don't want to give up your bishop. So it depends. Even though the point values of pieces can be equal, it depends. Even pawns. Your opponent offers you to trade pawns. And you say, you know what, I don't want to trade pawns because I don't like the way my position is going to look if I trade this pawn. I don't want to trade queens because I don't want to move my king to capture the queen back, because then I won't be able to castle, right? So just because pieces have values doesn't mean that trading pieces of equal value is always a good idea. It depends, right? It depends. All right, I want to play a little game just for fun, just to shake things up a little bit. I want to see who is the fastest at setting up the pieces. Out of the 5 of you, I want to see. I want to see. And you can pick, do you want to set up the white pieces or the black pieces?
Wait.
So what we're going to do is we can go, Dov is going to do white and Roshan's going to do black.
Can we play now?
We will in a second.
Please say no.
No, I just want to see who's faster. All right, Roshan will take black, Dov will take white. That'll be first.
Probably Roshan might win.
All right, hang on. No cheating.
Okay. How are you supposed to cheat in this game?
No, you're not supposed. No. Just put the pieces, all the pieces together.
There's no way to cheat unless you.
Okay, hands off the pieces.
And behind your
Hands behind your back.
No, hands behind your back like this.
Ready? Behind your back. Are you ready? Both ready? Set. Go. Oof, a close one. Very nice. All right, let's go. Dov and Roshan, you guys step out for a second. Can I get 2 more people, please?
Why win Leah?
All right. Lila, come on over here. Leah, come on over here. Let's take all these off.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, you guys can go to the bathroom and you can have your snack quickly while they do this. Ready? Lila and Leah, ready? Set, go. There you go. Oh, it was very close. A little bit less close than Dov and Roshan, but still pretty close. All right. All right, I'm going to take these away and we're going to put our hands on some pieces.
Have to go soon, okay?
Why are there two queens?
Because so when a pawn gets the who won?
Leah won by 3 pieces, I think.
Whoa, nice.
All right,
Can we go?
Leah and
Can we play?
no, Leah and Lila, you're gonna stay right
Can I have
there.
a snack?
No,
Why?
You-
You said a snack.
no, you went to the bathroom. You can have a snack. You can have a snack after we finish this. All right, Leah and Lila, you guys stay right there. Roshan and Dove, set up your pieces, please. And you guys can, do the pawn thing to see who's gonna be black, who's gonna be white. Lucy, come sit over here with me, please.
Can I use the pawn?
Wait, another competition?
This is not a competition. We're simply going to have you guys play a game against each other, and I wanna
And then we'll go.
and I wanna see you play.
And then we'll play.
And then we'll do what I say because this is my time.
But I also want to go play and get apples.
We'll have time to play, I promise.
But okay, can you please help us get apples?
No, that's your thing.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't want you to. I just was asking, and I wanted you to say no.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lucy, come sit down over here,
No,
please.
but for real. That's
Do you want white or black pieces?
play.
White, so you need to sit on this side.
Wow. Oh my God, he's gonna like play.
Come sit over there.
What? Ah, wait, where's my rook? I'm missing a rook.
You're missing a rook. Did it fall down?
No.
Did it? What?
Ah!
Oh, that's crazy. Really? Okay. All right, let me.
Oh, they have 3 rooks.
We do. There we go. That explains it. All right. Now, before we begin to play,
Pawn thing. Ready?
yeah,
When you grab a pawn. I think there was a pawn in one. Which hand?
all right, so you're going to stay black. All right, listen. One of the things we're talking about today, before we begin playing, one of the things we are talking about today is repetition, right? We started talking about the fact that it's Lucy's birthday. It's okay, just leave them there. We started talking about the fact that it's Lucy's birthday and that she's repeating another trip around the sun, except this is going to be her 6th, right? In chess, there is a lot of repetition as well. What do we repeat in chess? Who can tell me, what do we repeat in the game of chess? Did you take a pawn off the board, Leah? Oh, she took a pawn off the board. Oh, pick a hand so you can figure out who's playing which side.
Leah, trust me, this is white.
Pick a hand. Come on, Leah, let's go.
I'm the best at this.
This one? Very good. All right.
I am the best at this. How did you know?
What do we, well, he had a what % chance of guessing correctly? Yeah, ooh la la. All right. In chess, what do we repeat? Anybody have any ideas? What are some examples of things that repeat in chess? Leah.
So, I move, then you move. I move, you move.
Very good. Absolutely. The cadence of moves, or they're also called plies. When one person moves, it's called a ply, and then the other person moves, it's called a ply, right? When we move in chess, that's exactly how it works. It always repeats. White, then black, then white. Guys, stop putting stuff on board. White, then back, then white, then black. Have a seat. So that's very good, Leah. That is one thing that repeats in chess, is each side always takes its turn. What else repeats in chess? What's another example of something that repeats in chess?
Move.
A move? Like how?
Like, I move, they move.
That's what Leah just said. Let me suggest something. In chess, there are only a handful of moves with which we begin the game usually, right? And there
Lose and win.
and there are certain moves that are parts of certain chess openings that we repeat over and over and over. What's your most favorite opening, Dove, when you play white? E4, right? Moving that king's pawn to open the game is a very popular way to start a chess game if you're white, and it's something that we see repeat all the time. There are many different openings that repeat, because chess theory says that if your opponent moves this way, then the best possible ways to move against your opponent is this, this, and this, right? If your opponent is threatening a scholar's mate, then there are only certain moves that are the best moves. If you take any other move, you're going to get checkmated, right? So you repeat certain moves all the time to counter what your opponent is doing. And finally, before we start, one last thing that repeats. What happens if you repeat the same board position 3 times?
It's a tie.
It's a draw, right? If you move and back and move and back and the same board position repeats 3 times, it becomes, like Dove said, it's a draw, it's a tie, right? So that's an example of repetition in chess as well. All right, let's play. I want to see you guys move some pieces. Ready, set, go.
I want you to not go like, I want you to go easy, but not like so easy. Yeah, you lost. Let's go. Let's play.
We remember, guys, right, that if you touch a piece, you need to move it. So that's why we always think about our move before we make it. And after we've thought about it, we reach out, we take our piece, and we
Can I have one?
move it.
Can I have one of those?
Ask her, not me.
Lucy, can I have one? Thanks. That's the last one. I'm gonna go. Wow, we like puzzles.
Lucy, it's your move, right? You need to pay very careful attention to what's happening on the board.
A lot of cinnamon in here.
Very good, Lucy. So move accordingly, please.
You need to move it.
Let's pay attention. Look at your pieces and think about. Look at your pieces and think about. I see. And think about where you want to move them before you move them, please. Dove, focus, please.
Wait, did you go?
Yeah.
Dove, what did I say about moving pieces? Think, then take a piece and then move it. I don't want to see you just randomly touching pieces. Dove, think, then move. I don't want to see you touching pieces. Look at the board, think about the position, where do you want to go, and then touch a piece and move it.
Okay.
You moved? No?
No.
Okay.
Nope. There we go.
Look at the board, think, move. Lucy, same for you. Don't just pick up pieces. Look at the board, think about what you want to do, then reach for the piece and then move it. Same for you, Roshan. If you're gonna make that... No, let's relax for a second. This is our first time playing together, but the reason for that rule is not just because, it's because it forces you to think about where you want to move your pieces and forces you to look at the board. Once you touch a piece, you stop being focused on the board and you start being focused on the piece that's in your hand. So before you touch a piece and move it, look at the board and think about what you want to do.
Sasha.
Yes.
Only if I do this with my hand,
Yeah, I know Leah's taking her time. Well,
you can do
we can continue tomorrow. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you should be thinking in your head. If I do this, then you can do this, and then if you do this, then I do this.
I can't. I don't definitely put my phone.
Okay, well, take your time and think about what you want to do.
I can.
Well, you don't know what to do. What are we trying to do in the beginning of the game? Do you remember? We talked about this a lot of last year. We're trying to develop our pieces, protect the king, and control the...
What? Where? Took this pawn?
Yeah.
You
have to
go in the middle.
Stop, Dove, think. Look at the board. Do not rush. Think about your options. Don't look at me, I'm not helping you here. Lucy, stay out of their game, please. Dove, are you paying attention? He just took his move. Did you see where he moved? No, because you weren't paying attention. Roshan, can you show him where you moved, please?
Oh, fine, I know.
Look at the board. Think first, then move. Lucy, you and I are going to start again. Put your pieces back.
This is too confusing for me. No.
That's okay. That's why we're here, to learn. We're not here because we're all professional masters of chess. We're here because we're here to learn. Okay. What are we trying to do, Lucy, in the beginning of the game?
Trying to
Develop our pieces? What does that mean?
to control the middle.
Control the middle and to protect the...
I think we better.
Sorry, Lila.
Another time.
We will be out here tomorrow and Friday if you want to play with us.
You want me to take a picture of the board?
But tell her it's her turn, okay?
No, can't do that.
I'm gonna go get my backpack, okay, Dad?
Okay. Thanks for letting him play with you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, probably.
Okay.
You can't understand how mad I am right now. I'm just gonna watch this game. I wanna see how it ends.
Mm-hmm. Dove, sit down, please.
That's actually really cool because I think this is a really good game. I'm just gonna keep watching it. Watching it. That one more cookie.
No, it's time to focus on your chess game, Dove, not on the cookies, because you got some very important decisions coming up.
It's your turn, buddy.
No, it's your turn.
How's it my turn?
He just moved his rook to e7.
E?
Yes.
But then I moved here.
No.
Okay.
He moved to d1, and then you moved knight to e1, and then he moved rook to e7.
Okay.
Now it's your
Yeah.
turn.
Your turn.
Good game, Dove.
There's one last one.
Time to resign.
No, there's one last one.
Doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but wait. To get more pieces.
Shake hands. Well played, Roshan.